Hello there my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. I hope you're feeling spooky today. Halloween has just come and gone, but we have a crazy and scary update for Ahsoka Season 2. There is a darkness that has just descended upon the galaxy, and its name is Grand Admiral Thrawn, returned from the depths of Peridea with the Great Mothers and mysterious catacombs. The Nightsister world of Dathomir is about to be reborn. And in a brand new scoop from the account Morai Messenger, we have our very first official images of what Dathomir is going to look like. According to the source, Lucasfilm used an enormous soundstage, one with several levels for the actors to move around in, run around in, and they even say climb. It should also be noted, my friends, that Dathomir in Ahsoka Season 2 resembles the planet's appearance in Jedi Fallen Order. Lots of dead vines, and roots in the dirt, and even up the walls. It's got that orange hue to it. And not just this, they've also given us spoilers for one specific sequence. Ezra, Hera, and Chopper go to Dathomir, and in one scene they explore dangerous caverns under the surface. Ezra encounters something that was not on set, maybe a CG monster, the spirit of a Nightsister, like we saw in Rebels, and they say, quote, "There is a fight scene of sorts. Is it possible the monstrosities in the catacombs are now roaming the planet? Something that our heroes have to deal with." And just to remind you guys, this will not be Ezra Bridger's first time on Dathomir. He went there in the Star Wars Rebels Season 3 episode Visions and Voices, and it's one of the more unsettling and mystical moments from the show. Maybe some of that will be important. I did see a crazy theory this morning stating that maybe after his Tatooine death, Maul's spirit somehow lives on and haunts Dathomir. That would be an absolutely insane twist. There have been suggestions since the first season. Dave Filoni is going to allude to Maul at some point, or perhaps Asajj Ventress. I've seen wild theories that say maybe once upon a time Palpatine cloned him. Some fans theorize that Thrawn might have something up his sleeve, and might even reopen the abandoned laboratories on Mount Tantiss, and this obviously has direct ties to Legends. However, my friends, if Dave wants to do something like this, he runs into three canon problems. The first, if we're talking about Maul's spirit, is that George Lucas said flat out that Sith ghosts are not a real thing. And this is one of the reasons that Dave Filoni scrapped Darth Revan's ghost coming into the Clone Wars series. And if you want to argue that in the end Maul was redeemed to some extent in Obi-Wan's arms, he never learnt how to become one with the Force upon his death. And tied to this is the second issue, that unlike Asajj Ventress, Maul's body was not returned to Dathomir. Obi-Wan cremated him on Tatooine. But, like I say, with Dave Filoni you just never know. Perhaps the Great Mothers heard of him, and even revered him. For all we know, they might choose his likeness as a spectre of sorts. It was alluded to in Star Wars Rebels Season 3 that Maul was fascinated by Nightsister magic, ritual, and even demanding favors from the Nightsisters of the ancient past. And while Ezra broke the altar after those same spirits possessed his friends, Sabine and Kanan, now that the Great Mothers have been introduced, you never know the kinds of powers that they could summon. And honestly guys, when it comes to Dave Filoni's mythology, the sky's the limit. And we have heard rumors about some pretty intense fight scenes with the Great Mothers. So just like in Season 1 with their power of foresight, or summoning Talzin's sword, I do expect more dark sorcery in Season 2. But a question that interests me more than anything else is, what is Thrawn gonna do next? Concept art from Star Wars Celebration reveals that he's starting his own mini empire on Dathomir, building AT-ATs, having Captain Enoch patrol the planet, and my guess is that Thrawn is going to try and rebuild his military machine in secret for as long as he can. Dathomir might just be a distraction. His escape from Peridea gives him a chance to regroup, and I think he'll try to strike the New Republic when they least expect. In classic Thrawn style, he's going to try and seize the other remnants' resources and build several prototypes, new fighters, starships. Dathomir is a nice distraction. It gives him time to work on what really counts, while our heroes have to face off against the Great Mothers and the undead Night Troopers. But I don't think Dathomir is where he's going to stay, because there is unfinished business, alluded to in The Mandalorian Season 3. Something we need to consider is the importance of his allyship with the Great Mothers. I reckon he promised them a prosperous Dathomir, the return of their kind. But one of the reasons Grand Admiral Thrawn is such a fearsome adversary is his tactical prowess. It was the same in the expanded universe. And most importantly, he's willing to learn from his mistakes. In the final episode of Season 1, when Morgan Elsbeth insists there is nothing Ahsoka, Sabine and Ezra can do to stop their departure, Thrawn answers, "I've watched many an Imperial officer make the same assumptions about the rebellion. Even I fell victim to the heroics of a single Jedi." And I do have my issues with the canon portrayal of Thrawn, especially Dave Filoni's version, but something that has remained consistent is that before his defeat at the end of Star Wars Rebels Season 4, one of Thrawn's greatest downfalls is his inability to truly understand the power of the Force. And until now, he had nothing to counteract them. Baylan and Shin were mercenaries, but it's the Grey Mothers and their access to the dark side, their magic, that provides Thrawn a supernatural edge. And that's going to be fascinating in Season 2, now that he's back in the known galaxy. By returning the Grey Mothers, and thus providing them with the opportunity to restore the power of their coven, Thrawn could have an army of Force wielders on his side, as he attempts to resuscitate his version of the Empire. But this is where things get a bit convoluted, and this is precisely where there are contradictions with Timothy Zahn's canon Thrawn books. So by the end of the season, if this is the final season, they need to prove that his true motive is protecting his own kind, the Chiss ascendancy. But there's plenty more the Grey Mothers can do for him, and given the position of Dathomir, close to Mandalore, close to Atatin, there could be some crazy connections. However, he does need to reconnect with Pelion and the Shadow Council who've been waiting for him since Gideon's death. And I'm fascinated to see if, just like Gideon, and just like Hux, Thrawn has an affinity for necromancy. He's already proved the answer is yes with the catacombs, but imagine if he makes a dark side version of Ahsoka, or like I said, reboots some of Palpatine's projects, maybe a version of the Zillo Beast, or something else. I'm still adamant that eventually all of these plot threads from other canon shows are going to tie together. But I think when you mention Dathomir in the context of Ahsoka, I think fans are most interested in what the zombies are going to look like, what's going to emerge from those caskets. And finally, my dear friends, Rosario Dawson has once again teased what to expect in Season 2. In a now deleted post, she said this: "It's a wrap. The Force is strong with this team. Enjoy a little piece of the galaxy until we meet again." And maybe we're reading too much into this last bit, but some fans are hoping she's alluding to a possible third season. And it should also be noted that Rosario Dawson did confirm, in Season 2, Ahsoka has found her joy again. So for those complaining she was too miserable or stoic in the first season, that looks like it's about to change. But share your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below, my dear friends. Ahsoka Season 2 is coming in fall 2026. And if you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.